Oh, what did I do now?
Julie, are you good to go? No. Hi, I'm talking. Is it fine? Sorry. Good morning, everyone.
Gayatri, there is some issue with your audio. Like you have to like check it.
Hello, Vikas. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Jaya ma'am, Julie ma'am.
Yes, I think
Well,
you can hear me
are you
and
good
see
to
me.
go, ma'am?
Pardon?
Ma'am, can you hear my voice?
Yes, I can.
Thank you, ma'am. So we are starting the session now. Good morning, everyone. The Ministry of Tourism and Central Nodal Agency for Sustainable Tourism welcomes one and all to the 7th episode of Sustainable Tourism India webinar on the topic Empowering Women for Socio-Economic Development, a catalyst for community-based tourism within tourism. Namaskar, I am Gayat Panda, Nodal Officer cum Manager for Puducherry from the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. I warmly welcome speakers of the day, officials from Ministry of Tourism, Central Nodal Agencies of Sustainable Tourism, officials from all state governments, stakeholders, members, all responsible change makers present in the webinar. The Ministry of India Alongside partners, have crafted strategies for sustaining six established a leading global nation, emphasizes economic and socio-cultural sustainability in line with UN principles, aiming for long-term economic stability, benefits for women and stakeholders, employment, income opportunities, for communities. It aligns with such education, gender equality, basic work, inspiring women to harness their inherent power, very crucial. Let's hear from our esteemed leaders in our webinar to explore solutions for women. Programs in development, year-round opportunities. To enhance local quality of life. In this webinar, with this topic, empowering women for socio-economic development.
कुछ आवाज नहीं एक्सक्यूज मी मैम कुछ आवाज नहीं आ रहा मैम सॉरी
I think as people are joining, the voice is getting cut. I think let everybody join, then better to start.
यस
You can continue, ma'am. It is because of the joining issues. Like we are doing it in the background. Please. People will be keep joining.
Yeah, but it cuts her voice, so we can't understand what she's saying.
Yeah, Gayatri voice is breaking and not clear.
No, we can't hear at all.
Yeah, there's a problem with her. Can somebody tell her that we can't hear her?
Yes, we can hear.
You can hear her?
We can't hear her.
नो नो
Yes, we can hear.
No, I'm talking about Gayatri. Can you all hear Gayatri talking?
रास्ता करने के लिए ये बोला
అసలు వీసీ ఉన్నాడు మేడం, నిమ్మక వెంకట్రావుని ఇక్కడ ఎవరు మాట వినవాడు.
There was a small technical glitch, ma'am. We are just restarting the webinar. It will be started soon.
Close the
சவுண்ட் வருது. டன் ஸ்பீக்கிங் வருது.
இப்படிடா எனக்கு இன்னும் ஆயிடுது. இது என்ன பண்ணணும்?
Ma'am, am I audible to you?
Yes, Vikas, you are audible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
I
you.
can.
Okay, so I guess Gayatri is having some issues with the laptop. So I'll take over the webinar as of now, ma'am. So you can just turn on your cameras. Sorry for the technical glitch which has happened right now. We shall continue the webinar, ma'am. I'll start from the start. So good morning, everyone. The Ministry of Tourism, in collaboration with Central Nodal Agency for Sustainable Tourism, welcomes one and all to the 7th episode of the Sustainable Tourism India webinar on the topic Empowering Women for Socio-Economic Development, a catalyst for community-based tourism within the National Strategy for Sustainable Tourism. I am Vikash, the Assistant Manager for CNAST, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, will be the moderator for today's webinar. I warmly welcome to the prominent speakers of the day. Firstly, I would like to welcome Ms. Jaya Jetli, President and Founder, Daskari Heart Samiti. Ms. Jaya Jetli, a stalwart in preserving India's cultural heritage and traditional crafts since 1967, founded the Daskari Heart Samiti in 1986 and later established the iconic Delhi Hut in 1994. With innovative strategies, she connects craftspeople to diverse markets and has organized numerous international workshops fostering diplomacy. She combined crafts and calligraphy in Akshara exhibition and led the groundbreaking Crafted in India project with Google Arts and Culture. Ms. Jaya Jetli, an author of craft-related books and memoirs, is a prominent advocate for India's cultural heritage and crafts tradition, making her a much anticipated speaker. Secondly, I would like to invite Ms. Lobsang Lamo, the CEO Design Officer for the project Looms of Ladakh. Proceeding with the famous personality Ms. Lobsang Lamo, hailing from the picturesque village of Stock. As the CEO of Looms of Ladakh, she is not just a weaver, but also a passionate advocate for sustainability. The craft revolves around transforming ethically sourced raw materials such as wool, pashmina, and yak wool into authentic handcrafted treasures. From shawls and mufflers to sweaters, socks, and caps, every piece is a testament to the commitment to sustainable practices. It prioritizes eco-friendly processes in weaving, knitting, spinning, and beyond, ensuring that the creations not only exude timeless beauty but also tread lightly on the environment. Next, I would like to invite Ms. Julie Kakti, the founder and of Curtain Call Adventures. Ms. Julie Kakti is a visionary entrepreneur, draws inspiration from her childhood in Assam's tea plantations and her travels across northeastern India. With a deep appreciation for diverse cultures and a passion for weaving, she has spent 25 years as an entrepreneur, designer, and textile teacher. Today, as the founder of Curtain Call Adventures, she curates culturally immersive tours to benefit local communities and promote the rural economy in the region. Last but not the least, I would like to invite Ms. Usha Mary, the tour leader for Interpret Travel. Ms. Usha Mary, a dedicated tourism professional with 9 years of experience, serves as an approved guide for Tamil Nadu tourism and as a tour leader at Interpret Travel, a global travel company known for safe and sustainable adventures. Her outstanding work has garnered recognition in esteemed publications like National Geographic, Travel Weekly, Women Exclusive Magazine, Wanderlust Travel Magazine, and India Times newspaper. In 2017, she delivered a special speech at the Women in Travel Awards function in Sydney, Australia. Ms. Usha Mary is a passionate about changing global perceptions of India and its people, aiming to showcase the nation's vibrant cultural diversity. I would also like to invite the responsible citizens of India, officials from MOT, and officials from all state governments, eminent persons, stakeholders, the YTC members, and one and all present in this webinar. The Ministry of Tourism in India, in collaboration with various partners, has developed a national strategy for sustainable tourism. This strategy aims to position India as a premier international destination for responsible and sustainable travel. It recognizes the importance of economic and socio-cultural sustainability following UNWTO principles. Socio-economic sustainability involves ensuring long-term economic stability, providing benefits to women and all stakeholders, promoting stable employment, income opportunities, and social services for local communities. It also aligns with SDG goals like no poverty, quality education, gender equality, decent work, and economic growth. Now that we realize that women already possess great power, it is imperative that we educate and inspire them to put these new strategies for empowering women in the tourism industry into action in order to promote socio-economic growth. The Ministry of Tourism, state governments, and several organizations have launched significant projects and are motivating with a number of programs. Let's hear from our prominent women leaders in today's webinar so that we may try to come up with as many viable solutions as possible for how to improve women's resource development, employment opportunities throughout the year. What steps may be made to improve the quality of life in local communities, including social structures and access to resources, facilities, and life support systems while preventing any kind of environmental or social exploitation or degradation. In today's webinar, we will discuss on the topic empowering women for socio-economic development, a catalyst for community-based tourism within the national strategy for sustainable tourism. Now let us hear from the eminent speakers. So my first question is to Ms. Jaya Jetli. So could you elaborate on the role of Dastari Heart Samiti in supporting and promoting traditional crafts and artisans across India? And can you give a background of Dastari Heart Samiti?
Yes, thank you and namaste to everybody. I'm very happy to be here because I feel these days tourism is much more interested in women-related handicrafts and other subjects contained within the sustainability goal. So I'm very happy to be able to share my thoughts here with so many other very interesting and enterprising speakers. The Dastakari Heart Samiti was formed as a platform so that all craftspeople, women or men, all of them would feel equal on the same platform of the marketplace. That is why Dastakari Heart. Heart is our common word for market. It's called Chande in the south. All kinds of words are there. But the village marketplace actually is the heart and the hub of so much of socio-economic cultural activities of common people of India, particularly in the rural areas, although urban hearts are also there. And because of Delhi Heart, the urban heart name also found a place. So these bazaars are where men and women sit side by side equally. The woman is not pushed back into only playing a supportive role, because if you go to rural areas, at least 20 years ago, it was the men who did the work and the women did only the supplementary assisting work, and they never got any share of the income from that. But these days, we found, for instance, so many men leave the practice of weaving and other work, and the women take over. So there is now much less stigma of women sitting on a loom and various other things which were otherwise traditionally divided. Now, these women, therefore, have become, in a way, sometimes many of them are women-headed households, single women-headed households, where they have to manage all the work. Now, I know that in UP, in Mirzapur, Badohi, I had gone there for a study of women's condition in the carpet weaving industry. This was after the child labor laws came in, and the boys and the men, boys were removed from the fine work of carpet weaving. So the women filled the gap, but they were in a very bad condition. They earned very little. 5 women would sit on a loom to make a carpet, and the carpet would be only 1,200 rupees. 5 women dividing 1,200 within a month is not enough to keep up a family. But I studied all those conditions, and they also made baskets, which they made for personal use. Like many of you will know that in our societies in rural areas, we make baskets to put our sweets or our wedding gifts and all these other things, to gift anybody something. Or temples use a lot of baskets for the distributing the prasad. So these baskets these women used to make, they were beautiful baskets. They didn't realize the value. So I would go to them and say that here, these baskets, similar baskets made in Sri Lanka and other countries, are sold in fancy shops. This is what you can do. If you add value to your product based out of your own traditional skill, you will be able to then add value to your life. So this was my motto and my outreach to them. And today, those women earn around income of 10 lakhs or more a year from selling in marketplaces. So this was a very big effort at empowerment. Although actually I went to see what was their condition in carpets, but they moved out of carpet and they started doing this work instead. Now when we had a press conference once in Delhi, one media person asked them, how do you feel now doing this yourself? Because the raw material they gather, they make the basket. If they come and sell directly at the bazaars, then they get the money directly into their pocket. Their son and the husband and the father-in-law and all don't. So the best answer they gave when they were asked, how do you feel? They said, ab sab kuch hamare haath mein hai, which was really the term for saying empowerment. That everything was now in their hands. I think this is a good motto to take from them, that wherever we can put things in the hands of women directly, that becomes it. So the marketing part is very, very important. That was the idea of the Dastakari Haat Samiti, to give opportunities for marketing. Many women Muslims who came from the little lanes of old Delhi, they would come out in their burqa, but at Delhi Haat, they would take off the burqa and they would be equal to all the men. They would help them in their work. Men would help them. So there was a lot of equalizing in terms of gender, in terms of caste, and in terms of even control of economic benefit. And so that's all I'll say at this point, because I want to hear other speakers and I don't want to take too much time with one question.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a beautiful timeline, and also we would like to hear a lot more from your experience as well for moving forward in the webinar. So, hearing from other 3 speakers, next I would like to invite Ms. Lobsang Lamo. So, Ms. Lobsang Lamo is the current CEO of design in looms of Ladakh. I just Lobsang ma'am, आप मेरे को हमको ये प्रोजेक्ट लक्सकल और ये लूम्स ऑफ लद्दाख का प्रोजेक्ट क्या है, ये वुमेन कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटी में क्या इम्पैक्ट लेके आया, एक केस स्टडी के ऊपर आप बता सकते हैं मैम?
जी नमस्ते। सबसे पहले मुझे यहाँ पे आप लोगों के सामने कुछ शब्द बोलने के लिए मौका मिला है, तो सबको मेरी तरफ से बहुत बहुत थैंक यू बोलना चाहती हूँ। हमारा जो ये लक्सल और लूम्स ऑफ लद्दाख कैसे शुरू हुआ, तो उसके बारे में मैं थोड़ा आप लोगों को बताना चाहती हूँ। तो स्टार्टिंग में जो हम लोग यहाँ पे जो स्टार्ट ही हुआ था, उस टाइम लक्सल बोल के हमने स्टार्ट किया था। लक्सल नाम के हमने ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन मतलब शुरू किया था। उसमें क्या था कि लक्सर्स में मतलब हाथ का जो काम है वो तरसते हैं, वो वाला काम उसी से हमने शुरू किया। तो उसके बाद हमने लूम्स ऑफ लद्दाख शुरू किया। तो उसमें हमारा क्या था कि जैसे यहाँ पे जो रॉ मटेरियल है, जैसे इंडिया के सबसे मतलब टॉप मतलब हाई अल्टीट्यूड पे जो मटेरियल रॉ मटेरियल आते हैं उसी पे काम करना शुरू किया था। तो फिर वही हमने अभी भी कर रहा है, वो चल रहा है लूम्स ऑफ लद्दाख में। जैसे वुल या वुल पश्मीना और शीप वुल पे जो यहाँ पे रॉ मटेरियल है उसी को हम शॉल्स, स्वेटर, कैप्स और जैकेट्स भी हम लोग उसमें काम कर रहा है। जैसे ऐसे इसी तरह हम लोग काम कर रहा है। तो ये वाला जो प्रोडक्ट है पश्मीना, जो यहीं का जो लद्दाख में जो मिलता है उसी को हम यूज कर रहे हैं। तो इसमें कोई इन्वायरमेंटली मतलब कोई नुकसान वाली प्रोडक्ट नहीं बन रहा है। जो भी बन रहा है ऑथेंटिक प्रोडक्ट बन रहा है। तो ऐसा हमने स्टार्ट किया है। तो ऐसा जैसे हमारे लूम्स ऑफ लद्दाख में एनुअल मीटिंग होता है इजिम, फिर उसके बाद इलेक्शंस होते हैं, और हम सब मतलब बिजनेस आगे बढ़ने के लिए हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं। जैसे जो भी यहाँ पे लूम्स ऑफ लद्दाख में चल रहा है वो हम मेंबर्स के सामने रखते हैं, ट्रांसपेरेंटली हम उनसे शेयर करते हैं। एजीएम में, एजीएम के टाइम पे हम उनको मतलब साल में क्या क्या हो रहा है वो सब हम सब कुछ शेयर करते हैं, और इसी तरह हम लूम्स ऑफ लद्दाख चलाते हैं।
धन्यवाद आपके इतना सारा इंस्पिरेशनल एक्सपीरियंस बताने के लिए। मेरे I'll have a next question to Miss Julie Katibman. Could you share specific examples on how your culturally immersive ventures benefit local communities and contribute to the rural economy?
Hi. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me on board. It is a privilege to speak on this topic and to be with my esteemed speakers. It's really nice to hear everybody speak on a topic that's very close to me. You know, I actually started Curtain Call Adventures with a lot of awareness that I wanted to include local communities in tourism in the Northeast. Because when I started my company, when I started a small venture, it was a small venture. I was actually going to start just doing a few tours based on textile. But when I started looking into it, I realized that there are so many aspects that need to come in. And one of which was that to be sustainable for travel in that region, which is just emerging. Now every day there's something. The roads are improving, more hotels are coming up. The government is becoming aware, travelers are becoming more aware of the Northeast, that we need to have more. So one of the things I felt, when we started and we focused on being sustainable and supporting local communities, I started looking at what the women were doing in the villages. One of the things is, in the Northeast, almost every village, if you go to, they weave. They do not weave commercially, but they do weave for themselves. So we did approach weavers to talk to them and set up what we call demonstrations and workshops, where the two modules we follow with artisans is either we have them only do a demonstration for our guests, or we do workshops the guests are also involved. They can do. And that led to a second thing of food. Because, once you travel, food is a big thing. Everybody wants to try local food. We call the women to home cooked meals for our guests, which are authentic. Some have taken it a step forward, where they actually take people to see how they catch fish in little baskets, because a lot of the locals there fish that way. Or the other thing is even farming, how they grow crops, how they harvest crops, how they make their local the wines, they make their local pickles. So all of that is a step by step, what women can do at home, because that's their comfort, that's their space. So we are very conscious that what can we do, which she can do on her own, not pull her out and put her up in a platform, say, now you do it here, but do it at home so we can have more travelers go there. So that's one way of empowering. We also encourage a smaller thing like activate, like performing dances, you know, dress up sessions where people teach how their local outfits are worn to guests. So these are little steps that we take. They're baby steps, where you talk about empowerment at the tourism level and grassroots. These are the baby steps. We don't need a huge investment from them, but there's something that they do is their culture. I also notice that it makes them proud of their culture. They keep asking me, why are people coming? Why are they doing it? Or they start interacting with guests and they realize that there is a need to hold on to traditions and pass it on to their children. There is there. That's there. The other thing of empowering is we haven't yet been very successful in it, is training women to become guides and also to do first aid, support, do first aid training. That's important for guides to know. It doesn't matter if you're, male or female. It's important for guides, drivers in the region, wherever travel is, to know some amount of first aid. That is something that we're trying to do. Not just me. I'm also a part of a travel group in the Northeast, and we're trying to do it together. So these are steps that you can take to empower at the grassroots level sustainable tourism. I hope that answered the question. Do you want me to add more to it? Or we can do that later in the seminar.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am, for your empowering words to all of us. We'll surely come back to you. Now we are moving to the next speaker of our webinar. My question is to Ms. Usha Mary, ma'am. As a tourism professional, could you share some insights into how sustainable tourism practices align with the goal of empowering women and promote socio-economic development in India? Usha, ma'am, can you hear me? Usha, ma'am, we are waiting for you. Yes, ma'am.
We got it. Yeah. Good morning, Vanakkam and Namaste, friends. Thank you so much. And also, yeah, I feel very privileged to be part of this webinar. Yeah, your question is how the sustainable tourism, especially for promote the women empowerment. Yeah, actually, sustainable tourism, it gives a lot of platform and opportunity to empower the woman, and then a lot of women, they are getting job opportunities. They are becoming like entrepreneur, and also they are working in the tourism hospitality field. They are becoming like a tour leader, tour coordinator. There are a lot of opportunity to get a job. And also the sustainable tourism teach them, they educated them, and also it helps, the sustainable tourism helps that people economically grow, and also it's become strong. The women, they are becoming strong, and also they are getting a lot of social responsibilities too. And also sustainable tourism, they are improving the environmental studies, environmental responsibilities. The women empowerment, they are starting the business, and also they are running the business, depends on the running the business, and also they are concentrate the economical welfare and also the environmental welfare too. For example, they avoid the plastics, they avoid to use the plastics, and also they the women's, they are try to avoid the plastics, and then local economy, they are support the local economy. The sustainable tourism supports the local economy. The people, the travelers, they try to get the local food, local cuisine, and also they are interested to do the local activity, and also they are very interested to do the local shopping, local carpet, and then pashminas. These ways sustainable tourism. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your experience. question is to Ms. Jaya ma'am. Ma'am, would you like to share the strategies which will connect to the people to the diverse market? I mean, with an example, or how can we connect the strategies and their impact for the diverse market?
Actually, your voice broke up a little bit. You want to know what innovative strategies we can do to connect women to the market?
We want to know the strategies to connect, yes, ma'am, crafts people to connect with the diverse market.
Well, I'll share with you the innovative strategies which I have so far followed. One is that actually I started in 1994 until 2010. 1994 to 2004, I created maps, artistic fold-out kind of maps, which guided people, any traveler, to crafts spaces all over the country, each state-wise. So the artwork of the state, which was done either by a woman or a male artist, and then we put the actual map of that state, and then we wrote little text over the maps saying that this is how you go to certain place, this is what you will find there, this village such and such, that village such and such. So these became very informative documentation of the locations of crafts produced in this country, crafts and textile. If women were involved, we mentioned that these were exclusively women activities, or it was a women's NGO. So we actually produced for the Northeast, we added the seven sisters, as we call them, onto one map. Otherwise, so totally some states divided up while we were doing it. So Andhra became also Telangana. UP also got to become Uttarakhand separately. Chhattisgarh from Madhya Pradesh. So we made maps for each state, very colorful, very artistic maps. This eventually also got combined into a book called the Craft Atlas of India. Nobody had really done this before, of documenting how to travel to a certain place and reach a location where you can see crafts. So in a way, it was very useful for tourism, as well as taking visitors, tourists, travelers, students, all, even exporters, to the actual place of making. So that was one thing. Particularly for women, what I've also done is there are so many beautiful women artists, traditional artists, like in Mithila or even Gond. So I have written many children's stories. Then I get them to illustrate the story. I discuss the story with them. It's usually about a child in their society and how the child is trying to teach the urban child or urban reader about their life. So these stories have been illustrated by women. For example, one very kind of, teaching them how craftspeople also adapt to modern technology. I did a story about an actual artisan, woman artisan, who is part of our Samiti, called Hirakant. So they paint, usually in Mithila, Madhubani, they paint on the walls. So the story is she comes to Delhi after she gets married. There she doesn't find any wall to paint. The municipal people don't allow, or she paints some wall because she likes to do it. Her creative energy is in that. And people spit on it or they stick a poster on it. So she's feeling very sad. Then a young technical boy comes and says, I'll tell you how to do it. I'll scan all your paintings and we get a projector and project them onto the wall. So that's an innovative use of technology where she also, the actual artist, learns that this kind of thing can be done. So this is also a very new way of including women artists and getting them to link with, say, children. So the new generation also, younger generation also understand. We did a very big project, which I'd happy to share with you here. It was actually adopted by the Ministry of Tourism under the Incredible India program. This was commissioned to us by Google Arts and Culture, their non-profit online platform. So we did 52 visual documentation of crafts in India, all over India, covering almost all the states. And we took about 11,000 photographs and texts, but the selected pictures were taken. So this is under, you might all like to share, capital G.co oblique crafted in India, all one word in lower caps. Capital G.co oblique crafted in India, lower caps, all one word. This is a free app you can download, and you get stories with visuals. So the Northeast, the women working, the women corner basket weavers in Manipur, all kinds of societies and communities. And we specially highlighted things like reuse, recycle, totally natural material, why they need clean water, clean soil, clean air in order to produce well. So it connects also to climate change. And I've been connecting crafts to climate change a lot, which is a very important innovative strategy I wish the government would also take up. So all these stories of Google Arts and Culture are on the Incredible India Tourism website. So I'm happy always to associate with tourism. Even Delhi Heart was about tourism. So without thinking about it, I have always in my work somehow related crafts to tourism like this. These are some of the stories of the innovative, and I'll now say something more in the next question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your plethora of experiences and innovative ideas. It has immensely contributed in the tourism industry to promote all the handicrafts, and each and individual states you have mentioned, the handicrafts from that states have taken to all across the world by your initiatives. We are really privileged to have you, ma'am, over here. I'll be coming back to you. My next question is to Lozang Lamo, ma'am. Ma'am, could you share some success stories or initiatives where empowering women through your craft has led to a positive socio-economic outcome in the region? I'll repeat the sentence in Hindi. क्या आप हमें बता सकते हैं आपके संस्था के सफलता के कहानियां जहां पे कला के माध्यम से महिलाओं को सामाजिक और आर्थिक क्षेत्र में सशक्त बना सकते हैं?
मैम, जैसे हमारे यहाँ पे जो महिलाएं लूम्स लद्दाख में जो काम कर रहे हैं उसको मतलब पहले हम क्या थे फिर अभी क्या हुआ वो थोड़ा बताऊंगी। जैसे पहले हम लोग जो भी प्रोडक्ट जैसे लूम्स लद्दाख लक्सर स्टार्ट नहीं हुए थे उस टाइम जो भी यहाँ पे रॉ मटेरियल मिलते थे उसी को हम ना खुद के लिए यूज करते थे। जैसे स्वेटर, सॉक्स, कैप्स ये लोग मतलब के लिए बना के पहनते थे। जब हम लक्सर स्टार्ट किया था उसके बाद हमें पता चला कि इसमें हमें बहुत इनकम आ सकता है, तो इसको हम बिजनेस की तरह कैसे यूज करें, मतलब कैसे उसको आगे ले जाए। तो उसी तरह हमने स्टार्ट किया था। फिर उसके बाद लूम्स ऑफ लद्दाख जो फिर उसके बाद हमने जो भी प्रोडक्ट जैसे वुल का जो प्रोडक्ट है उसको हमने दुकान पे रखा। फिर उसके बाद हमने एग्जीबिशन पे कहीं कहीं लेके गया। फिर उसमें बहुत सारे मतलब कस्टमर्स भी मतलब कहना है कि मतलब ये बहुत अच्छा मतलब ये जो हाथ का जो काम है वो आगे ले बहुत अब लोगों को ये मतलब स्कोप है। तो इसी तरह हमने स्टार्ट किया। तो अभी वुमेन पहले जो वुमेन घर घर में जो बनाते थे वो अभी हम लोग पूरी दुनिया में पहचानने के लिए हम लोग ये प्रोडक्ट बना रहे हैं। और पहले लोग क्या होते थे कि जैसे हाउसवाइफ होते हैं तो घरों में या गांव में ही पहचान लेते थे। अभी उसमें मतलब पहचान क्या हुआ था, जो पहले हम घर में करते थे अभी तो हम पूरी लद्दाख में पूरी इंडिया में हम लोग का लूम्स ऑफ लद्दाख के माध्यम से हमें पहचाना जाते हैं कि लूम्स ऑफ लद्दाख कैसा प्रोडक्ट बनाते हैं, सस्टेनेबल प्रोडक्ट। वो आगे लाने के लिए उसको मतलब कैसे आगे लाने के लिए बिजनेस कैसे बढ़ाते हैं वो और उससे हमें रिस्पेक्ट भी मिलते हैं, जो जो हमारा जो ये प्रोडक्ट बन रहा है वो ऑथेंटिक है। और हम लोग जैसे जो प्लानिंग जो करते हैं लुम्स ऑफ लद्दाख में, वो सारे मेंबर्स और ऑफिस के जो टीम होते हैं वो सब मिल के बनाते हैं। तो ये हमारा सक्सेसफुल मतलब काम है, ये मैं मानती हूँ। और
बहुत
हमें
खूब मैम, बहुत खूब।
और भी कॉन्फिडेंट आते हैं कि मतलब जो जो महिला हैं उनको भी मतलब अच्छा लगता है कि हाँ इसके थ्रू हम आगे बहुत आगे बढ़ सकते हैं। तो सारे मेंबर्स को भी हम शेयर करते हैं कि ये ऐसा होता है, ऐसा बिजनेस ऐसे चलाते हैं हम। बिजनेस प्लान भी हमें अच्छे से बना लेते हैं, तो उसी में मतलब हम लगे हैं और लगाते रहेंगे।
बिल्कुल मैम, हम आपसे बहुत ही प्रेरित हैं और बहुत कुछ सीखना चाहते हैं। अब हम नेक्स्ट विल बी गोइंग टू द नेक्स्ट स्पीकर. माय नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन टू मिस Julie Kakti ma'am. Ma'am, will you please explain how does your work with the national strategy for sustainable tourism in India, especially in the terms how it focuses on responsible and sustainable travel practices?
Sorry, your voice broke up. Can you repeat the?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, how does your work aligns with the sustainable and responsible travel practices?
Okay, you're talking about the work I do as a travel curator, right?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
See, if I have to define, okay, I think to begin with, we have to define what is sustainable. When we keep using this word sustainable for different things. What does it mean? It comes down to a very, very simple thing. Is, sustainable to what? Sustainable to the environment. That's the main focus, is on the environment. Are we harming the environment? Are we protecting the environment? Okay, and how does it relate to people? How does we say sustainable practices? When we come to tourism, or it comes to rural practices, or working with people. See, in how I define it is, we work a lot with societies and tribes, communities that live very close to forests. Okay, and they depend a lot on the environment, which is like the weather conditions and the forest and land for their food, for their income. A lot of them depend on that. A lot of them forage from the forest. So it is very vital that how do they respond to the environment around them? Are they harming them? Are they protecting it? How do we help them do that? To me, that is sustainable tourism. Okay, that's where tourism comes in, is how are we as travel operators or travel curators, as guides, addressing that issue? How are we helping them do that? So one of that thing is, one of the things that I really do promote and I do believe is things like, rustic walks. Help people travel regions through foot. That way they admire the place a lot. There's a less carbon footprint, and also you interact more with the locals around there. That is one of the rules of sustainable travel tourism that we practice a lot as a traveling. I'm giving you one example, that we do, and we do a rustic walk, rustic forest walks are a very big thing for us, and that's a one small way to promote sustainable tourism.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us a nice example to follow. Next question, I would like to ask Usha ma'am. Ma'am, could you hear me?
Yeah, I can, please.
Ma'am, please explain us your work, which has been recognized by prestigious publications, and you have delivered a speech at Women in Travel Awards function. Can you tell us the message you have conveyed there regarding women empowerment and sustainable tourism during that event?
Thank you. Thank you for asking the question. So, women empowerment. Whenever I think about women empowerment, and whenever we talk about women empowerment, the very great poet, Mahakavi Bharatiyar, the great Mahakavi Bharatiyar, the great poet and then patriotic man. His words comes to my mind. Okay, 100 years ago, say a century ago, he sung a very inspirational song about the modern woman. Okay, in the title of Pudumai Pen. Pudumai Pen. So it's my honor to translate some few lines from the Pudumai Pen. He had a dream 100 years ago. He had a dream about, he sung a song about woman empowerment, how to be a woman empowerment, how to be a woman after 100 years ago. So there were some few lines, okay? Few lines. நிமிர்ந்த நன்னடை நேர்கொண்ட பார்வை நிலத்தில் யாருக்கும் அஞ்சிடாத அருள் ஓகே நிமிர்ந்த ஞான செருக்கும் இருப்பதால் பெண் யாருக்கும் மாதர்த்தம் திரும்புவதில்லையாம், which means the girl, she walks with the head up and also with eye up, and also she is doing in everything right way with the morals and values. And also she is looking inside the rightness in around circumstance. She is bold. She is no one afraid of that. She is never afraid of anyone in the world. And also she would merge with the future, and she is starting to fight with the proof herself. Yes, naturally the ladies, the women, they are very strong and then powerful, but they need a platform. The tourism industry, it gives a platform to prove herself. Sustainable tourism teach her and then promote her and then strongly to become a strong. Okay, but it's not a very easy task. To empowering women in the tourism industry, it's not a it's not easy task. For example, as a tour leader, it's not an easy task to become a tour leader, because we have a lot of invisible boundaries, lot of obstacles. As a woman, we have to break all the obstacles. We have to cross over all the boundaries, social responsibilities we have, and then family. So we have to break all the obstacles, and then we have to become like it. But I strongly believe the following quotes: woman, it's like a tea bag. We never know how she is strong. We never know how strong she is until she is getting into hot water. So women empowerment in the tourism industry, yeah, if you are ready to face all the challenges, if you have a responsible person, if you are ready to share all our culture and heritage, and then proud, you can become a very, very successful empowerment in the tourism industry. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was quite powerful speech by you. It has enlightened us. Thank you.
Thank you.
My next question will be to Jaya ma'am. Before that, I would like to ask our audience. I am expecting questions from the audience on the chat box who have joined in Zoom platform can text the message in the chat box, and who have joined in YouTube can also text in the YouTube chat box. Yes, ma'am. Jaya ma'am, we want to know, you have organized 15 international workshops in international way. So how the workshops contributed to diplomacy and India's soft power on global stage, ma'am?
Well, actually, we have a scheme in the Ministry of Textiles, which is called Craft and Skill Exchange. And under that scheme, they fund part of it, and we have our own funds we find to fund part of it. And I identify in a particular country where crafts are rich and still existing. And mostly this is in West Asia and in South Asia. The Western countries, unfortunately, they have become so industrialized, and they don't have community crafts like our Asian and traditional countries do. And also, I find among some of them, they feel that they have to teach us something. We can't teach them anything. But I wanted that we should have a nice mutual exchange, mutual learning. And our craftspeople, quite often, they don't know even the name of some other countries. So like I went to Vietnam myself. I went to different villages through the Vietnamese government trade department. and they took me to craftspeople, I would tell them that this is the program I have. We will pay for you to come and stay. You bring your crafts. I identified those which match with the Indian craft. So if it was lacquer or wood carving or batik or whatever the country, whatever the matching crafts, I would call, say, 10 people or 5 people from there and the equivalent counterpart in the same skill from India. And when the Vietnamese people come, our craftspeople didn't even know where is Vietnam. So I had to teach them, this is the map of the world, this is where Vietnam is. And when the Vietnamese came, of course, nobody could understand their language. But in the 15 days they worked together, they were showing each other how they do things. So they each learned something from the other. They each taught something to the other. And sometimes if they were similar, then the designs would be different. So by the end of those 15 days, the Vietnamese and the Indian craftspeople, they were hugging each other and crying. They didn't want to leave. So this is beautiful. And the Pakistan women we called particularly, and they had never crossed the Wagah border and come to India. Their families told them, be careful in India, your hands and legs will be chopped off and all of that. But they came and we had somebody meet them. And they came from across Wagah and they came to Delhi Haat. And they said, after our country, this is the most beautiful and loving country we have ever seen. And they were so happy to meet the customers. They brought their beautiful embroideries. And then we did an embroidery project with them. And the whole subject of the joint workshop was breaking boundaries. So they broke the boundaries of their country by coming across to India. Women leaving their homes was another breaking of the boundary. And then making friends with India and working together. So we gave them a task. Can you, through embroidery, tell the story of your coming here? And they drew beautiful through plants, how the first time the plants were all newly planted and it was wilting and nobody knew whether the plants would live or die. Then slowly they come. Then there's a lot of worry and tension. So there's all thorny bushes as they're coming to Wagah. Then they show how they come to Delhi Haat, and Delhi Haat is like a flowering tree. So they have a full blooming tree at the end. So that was their story of their experience in coming to India, breaking boundaries and making friends. So it was a beautiful interaction among the women of India and them. Like this, so many countries which we've done it with, nobody knew each other's language, but they were the best of friends. And our craftspeople I know in India have learned so much from them. And they also have learned from India. And I think instead of sometimes very fancy parliamentary delegations or journalists or others going to others' countries, it's the simple, poor village folk, small folk. They meet each other. I think the effect is far stronger, more long lasting, and they do make serious friends. The Indian craftspeople today from Kutch, they still send the raw material for natural dyeing to their counterpart in Pakistan. And the Pakistan person calls me and he says, ma'am, when are you calling us to Delhi Haat again? I want to sell my chappals there. So, this is how I feel true diplomacy should work. And that's how we've done it. And there have always been women involved in it with embroidery or something. And it's, as I said, all our work is a mixed gender work, but the women, I think, feel very much more empowered than men because they come out and do these things for the first time.
Thank you for sharing so empowering examples, ma'am. As we know, Delhi Haat has been a pioneer and a benchmark for showcasing all the handicrafts to all the visitors, domestic as well as international. Yes, ma'am. And how we are sharing the sustainable products all across the globe is also too much of inspirational, and everyone should also be aware of that India has so much pure and sustainable products to cater to the world.
Yeah. One thing I'll add is that sustainable doesn't also have to mean only natural. Women are great reusers and recyclers. I think that is the special quality of women. And when you take rubbish plastic and all kinds of things and make fans out of them or baskets out of them, They are salvaging the material that could spoil the environment and make something which is of utility. So this is a thing we can surely highlight about women and sustainability. And in tourism, I think as India is a champion in reuse and recycle, should promote this idea also.
Yes, ma'am. Sure. Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, I would like to take a question from our YouTube. Vishesh Joshi have asked, is there a way to produce local crafts on a large scale to reduce the prices and makes the product more accessible?
You're asking?
Ma'am, can you answer on this question? Is there a way to produce local crafts on large scale and reduce the prices and make the products more accessible?
Who is to answer?
From YouTube, Vishesh Joshi sir have asked.
Ask me?
Yes.
Oh. Actually, crafts are something which can't be done in huge quantities like industrial and machine-made products. I think that is where we always have tried to compete with China, and we can never do, because theirs is not really craft. It's a whole lot of joining of components by people by hand, but those components are all machine-made. And therefore, I think what we should highlight is the benefit of Indian crafts or genuine handmade work is the fact that they are not always replicable beyond a certain point. So what you are getting is unique. Your sari should not be made in power loom by a machine, and then the craftsperson uses it. Even buying raw material in bulk, you will then have to get machine made or synthetic raw material. So I feel that we should not go for huge quantities. And if we make the raw material accessible to craftspeople more equally, instead of the raw material going to big factories, if it could be used by craftspeople, if the raw material they need is brought near their working place and not them having to travel through 3 states to go and get it, these sort of things will reduce the cost. Also, there should be very low GST on these things, the costs will go low. As such, if you take the skill, the time taken, and the cultural heritage and value of a product, Indian handicrafts are not at all expensive.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We'll take up the next question. This question will be to Julie, ma'am. Ma'am, we have a question from the audience. I have a facility of land building with necessary infrastructure. I would like to start up a homestay apartment service exclusively for women tourists. How to go this? Any model or project can I get?
So somebody has land. Sorry, they have land and they want to build a house, a guest house for women, right? Is that the
Yes,
question?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
One is that you will have to figure out what are the basics people need uh, for living, which is you need to have rooms, bathrooms. Are you going to what kind of facility do you want? Do you want to have something which is for a younger crowd, which is like a dormitory with common bathrooms? Do you want to do something a little bit more exclusive, which is rooms with bathrooms attached to it? So you have to figure out the model that you want to do, what kind of budget investment you want to make. That's the first step. You have to figure that one out. Also it needs in any kind of a guest house or a homestay or even a hostel, it requires certain infrastructure, which is in today's day and age, you need to have Wi-Fi, internet facility. You also need to have somebody to manage the place. Are you going to have them to cook themselves, or will you have somebody who will cook for them? These are things that you need to figure out. Once you've done all that and you're ready, there are lots of different boards to promote it on. Nowadays social media is very active, so you can promote it as an exclusive, a guest house for women. You can promote it on Airbnb. That's the other big platform. There's also the Homestays of India. Become a member of Homestays of India, look it up, and you can promote it through that. I always tell people to be a part of the Homestays of India, because it does get you a lot of trust. And as in the tourism industry, especially hospitality, trust is a very big thing. People look at you, they feel that you have all your mandates, because once you're part of a board, your mandates are in place. They require you to have certain things, whether it's Airbnb or Homestays of India. You will have to have certain mandates that they will ask you to follow. So that's there. I think it's a longer conversation. I'm happy to answer it on a separate call. If you need more, you can write to me. Yeah, but I think the first thing you need to do, since you already have the land, do you want to do as a tie-up with someone, or do you want to invest on your own? I think that's the first step to think about. And what kind do you want to do? Do you want to do it like a hostel, or do you want to do it, as slightly more exclusive? Yeah, I would say start with that.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your suggestions. We'll surely take it up. Any questions from the audience?
Good morning, Jaya ma'am. From where we can get that tourism map which you have there or in a book format?
Ma'am, you are on mute. Ma'am, you are in mute.
We have a website which our NGO runs. We don't believe much in online marketing because I prefer direct marketing face to face. But we set up this thing called dastikariheart.com. We have all our maps, all our publications, even very nice booklets of each of the workshops we have had with foreign countries. How we did it, what is the process, those ones. So we have also crafts which we have designed and developed on our own. Dastikariheart.com, you will get all our publications. You can order, they're not very expensive at all.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Sure. Now we would like to show an example from the Puducherry, a case study, how we are empowering women in the UT Puducherry. These are the small examples where Swadeshi Nari Sakti, a women's self-help group, was initiated by the nodal officer of India Tourism Puducherry, Ministry of Tourism, in association with the women of Alamkuppam, Puducherry. This women's self-help group has been formed in response to Swadesh Darshan 2.0 project of Ministry of Tourism, in which the sustainable and responsible tourism are the basic foundations of Swadesh Darshan 2.0 project. This self-help group aims to produce GI tag products of Puducherry, handicrafts, souvenirs, organic products, and developing rural homestays. We are encouraging women to become tourist guide through IITFC Incredible India Tourist Facilitator course by Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. By this way, we are empowering women for socio-economic development through tourism sector. As we know, India has a rich history of measuring participation of women in socio-economic development since its independence. The decentralization of governance has increased the importance of measuring participation of women in decision making. Proper gender budgeting has already been worked out for inclusive growth of women and girls by marking one-third budget for women in all the schemes. The Indian government has a lot of emphasis on utilizing real-time data for measuring different social indicators using the policy interventions with more responsive data and better gender equality society. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and our esteemed panelists, it is with a great pleasure that we bring the 7th episode of Sustainable Tourism webinar to a close. We sincerely thank each one of you for joining us today. Our webinar titled Empowering Women for Socio-Economic Development, a Catalyst for Community-Based Tourism within the National Strategy for Sustainable Tourism has been a source of valuable insights and inspiration. We had the privilege of hearing from four remarkable speakers: Ms. Jaya Jetli, Thank you, ma'am, for your profound insights into the role of women in sustainable tourism development. Ms. Lozang Ramo, ma'am, your perspectives on how sustainable tourism can uplift the communities have been truly enlightening. Ms. Julie Kakti, ma'am, your decision on the economic impact of community-based tourism is sure to leave a lasting impression within us. And to Ms. Usha Mary, ma'am, your expertise on integrating sustainable practices into tourism strategies have been invaluable. Thank you each and everyone for spending a valuable time with us. Stay tuned with the Sustainable Tourism India webinars and the upcoming webinars. Subscribe to our social media channels. We'll be keeping you updated about more sustainable and responsible practices. Namaskar.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for a very nice discussion. I really enjoyed everybody's contributions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for
Everybody
everyone.
have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Before that, I would like to take a screenshot of all our participants with our prominent speakers. Please turn on your cameras. We'll have a group photograph, please.
Camera means video.
Yes,
Yeah, you're already on it.
I'm so bad at all this.
We'll capture the
I know
moment.
you feel so over. I also feel so overwhelmed.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.